Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends retro-carded Spider-Man series Spider Armor Mark 1. I had the original figure as a kid. I've always been very fond of this design, even though it's completely impractical for a very nimble character to wear such bulky armor, but I've always liked it. I was very excited when they announced that they were going to make this figure, and then I saw the figure, and I was immediately let down. The wind was taken from my sails, if you would accept that phrase. And it's just, there's so much right about this figure, and it's all new parts, but there's so much wrong with it anyway, and it's just frustrating, guys. It's frustrating. A lot of you keep asking me, why do you keep reviewing Marvel Legends if they're so bad? Well, the quality of the figure doesn't determine whether or not I review it. If that was the case, there'd be no point to have reviewers. So, I mean, I have to review bad stuff, too. Good stuff and bad stuff. And they make some good figures, too. So, I'm going to keep reviewing them, and we'll see what they make. But this guy, despite the good stuff he has going on for him, he's got some bad stuff, too. So, let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just shy of 16 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to about 6 1/4 inches. He seems short. Let me grab another Spider-Man figure here. Another Marvel Legends figure. Not Spider-Man. Let's grab this one. He is short. Let me see. Grab another one. Seems like a very short figure. Seems pretty short. I don't know. You got the height measurement. Either way, you can tell. I'll put him up against another Spider-Man at the end too. So, okay, let's talk about the aesthetic. But first, question of the day: which non-traditional spider suit is your favorite? You cannot pick one's exclusive to video games. They have to be from the comics or cartoons. For me, it'd be too easy to say black symbiote. And you know what? No black suit Spider-Man either. You can't be traditional red or blue or black suit. It has to be something else. I'm gonna go with the cartoon version of 2099. I really liked that kind of multicolored look. That was very cool. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetics on this guy. The box art makes the figure look even worse. Look at the shoulders, look at the shape. Like, that's not a little kid wearing a suit. That looks like college-age Peter Parker wearing a suit to me, kind of like the cartoon version. This looks like a 14-year-old in cosplay. This looks ridiculous. The proportioning is all wrong. It's very bad, and I will Photoshop it. And that takes so much time. Every time I say I'll Photoshop it, I instantly regret it, but I'll do it. It'll make the figure look worse in person, but better in the Photoshop, and then you can at least look at that to feel better. Okay, so the other thing that bothers me, we'll get into what's awesome about this figure in just a second, but the other thing that bothers me is this is not indicated to be any sort of video game or MCU release. It's on the retro card. It should be comic-based, yet he is covered in texture. And you could make the argument that it's because he's wearing the armored suit, except I can't think of another cartoon comic-based figure that has texture like this. This looks like an MCU release, or maybe it almost looks like the PS4 version of the suit, honestly, so maybe they were going for that look. I don't know what happened, and then it got repurposed. I don't know what's going on here, but it doesn't really match the comic or cartoon-based figures in your collection because of all the texture. It doesn't look right. It looks weird. So that's very strange. Now the thing they did that's awesome is, and I always give them credit for this, they paint silvers and golds wonderfully. All the metallics, basically. And this guy, all the silver is painted, and it looks so nice and shiny. I love it, and it makes me all the more sad that he doesn't look as good as he should. So the shoulders are tiny, the legs are skinny, the head is big, the proportioning is just wrong. It looks like a little kid in a costume. And the shoulders being as tiny as they are in armor? What the heck? They're so tiny. Why? Look at this. Look at the shoulder pads there compared to the ones on the figure. It's just so... it's so disappointing. And I'll post a screenshot from the cartoon and a couple other images. I know this has been drawn in a few different ways, but none with unrealistically tiny shoulders. You wouldn't even be able to be a human in there. It doesn't make any sense. And then they didn't paint the eyes right. They're brownish colored rather than glossy black or like charcoal, so that's a little bit of a bummer. The chest plate's very high up on the chest. Compared to the version I know of him, you have more of the strap coming down, and this kind of goes with whatever. It's all wrong. Basically, it's all wrong. The only good thing is the silver is very silvery. So, aesthetically speaking anyway. So I'll give him that. I'll give him a 5 out of 10 because the silver is so... Look how nice that is. The paint job is so good on this figure, and then they just pooed the rest of it out. Okay, as far as accessories go, we have the 2 fist hands that come out in the package, 2 whipping hands, then we get 2 web splat accessories, which do look like spider webs, kinda. But what the heck are we supposed to do with them? Why? Why? What is that for? Is it just because the original figure came with something like that? I don't remember, maybe, but it's useless. So I don't get it. 2 out of 10 for accessories. No crawling hands, and it still looks goofy, so it bothers me that he doesn't have good accessories and looks goofy. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. The head is on a double ball peg. Big ball peg, they're taking some advice. I doubt they're actually listening, but I have been saying bigger ball pegs, and they did seem to do it, so that's a good thing. But maybe not down here. It looks like the neck could definitely fit a big ball peg, and so there might be a big one in there, but look at the opening for the ball. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. There's no range available. The opening is tiny, so you end up with a double ball peg that is basically useless. It doesn't have anywhere near the range it should. Let's show you how he looks up and down. So looking up, it has virtually no range. Looking down, no range. Leaning side to side, just a little bit, and then you get your rotation. So they did a double ball peg but didn't make it right. Now, if you're handy, you could pop that ball peg out, trim that a little bit, not a lot or it'll not connect again, and you'd get better range out of it, but they just didn't do it right. Now the shoulders, since they don't have shoulder pads on them like they should, you do get your full rotation, and they just tuck right into the body and he gets his arm up horizontally. So technically the range is fine, but that's because the sculpt isn't. Bicep swivel is fine, a double jointed elbow is fine, no problems there. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge, that's okay. Ab crunch on this guy does go back. I don't mind there being sculpted, like that's fine. It's not supposed to be silver all the way through, so that's okay. He still is a little bit pregnant. I don't know why they haven't figured that out. Like we've had lots of Marvel Legends that have an ab crunch that don't make them look pregnant, but these ones are super pregnant, so that's not great. Leaning forward is pretty good, that's alright. Waist twist is a waist twist. Hips go up high. They go about horizontal, so I like that. They do go back a little bit out to the side. Too limited. The pivot point is wrong. That's just better than 45. It'll do, but for Spider-Man, it should be way better. And you can tell by the way the leg tucks in as it does it. This gap right here tells you everything you need to know that's wrong with the joint. The pivot point, the ball in here, is not in the right spot. If it was in the right spot, it would look exactly the same as it is right now, but you'd be able to get the leg out completely to the side. So that's a bummer. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is fine. Pinless joints, by the way, for those of you who care. Ankle goes all the way back and not very far forward at all. So ankle rocker is pretty good. So this is a Spider-Man that doesn't have the right look, and he doesn't have any range in his articulation. Not really. He's got less range than most figures. Hell, Clayface from McFarlane Toys had better hip range than this guy. His neck is bad. His hips aren't good. His ankles aren't good. And he looks weird. What the heck? Alright, so articulation rating, I'll go 6. It's not good. The head is terrible. The ankles aren't good. So 6 out of 10 for articulation on this guy. An overall rating. Time for the overall rating. I am personally very disappointed in this. It looks like a little kid in bad cosplay. That's the best way I can describe it. It does not at all remind me of the original release. It doesn't remind me even of the comic book version. It doesn't remind me of anything other than I know that that's what it's supposed to be. The silver paint is great. The sculpt work for the armor plate is nice too. I like that. But they got the body all the way wrong, and the articulation doesn't work well, and the accessories are unimpressive. So this is a dud of a release as far as I can tell, unless you're just really into silver paint and boxy armor. So I'll give this a final rating of 6 out of 10. That silver paint saves it a little bit, but that's about it. It's otherwise a very disappointing release for me. You guys can let me know how you feel in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos every day but Wednesday, and I have thousands of videos already on the channel that you can check out on Wednesdays when I don't have a new one. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.